What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to introduce a new segment on the channel called Around the World in 100 Films, and I'm basically going to pick any movie from a country and talk about it. It's got to meet 3 criteria. It's got to be directed by someone from the said country, have actors from that said country, and also at some point shot on location. Going into this, I'm picking random titles that I come across. I have no idea what any of these films are, or maybe I've heard some positive things about it here or there, but essentially going in blindly, not knowing anything about any of these movies, and slowly we're going to cover a lot of ground on a lot of different films in different countries, and today is going to be film number 1, which is the Netherlands. So film number 1, I kind of looked around and I wanted to see what was available, and I stopped on The Vanishing, because The Vanishing is a film that I had seen growing up when I was younger with Jeff Bridges, Sandra Bullock, and Kiefer Sutherland. And it was interesting because 5 years before the original Vanishing came out, which same director, George Sluzier, and so I was like, you know what, let me check it out, because it's interesting to watch a director want to remake his own film. And this being a film that is part of the Criterion Collection, I was like, you know what, let me check it out, because it is pretty high regarded. I remember liking elements of the Jeff Bridges film. Let's see what it has to offer. Both movies have essentially the same story. They have a simple premise. A couple are on a getaway and they stop by a gas station when the female disappears, and we're sent on this goose chase trying to figure out who abducted her, how we're gonna find her, and you know, we're on this ride with the main character, as stressed out as he is, trying to figure out where she could have vanished, how in the world he's going to find her. And this is, you know, the premise. I think it works in both movies, and specifically in this film, I think because of how it's shot, because it is a much more low budget film, it actually services this film so much more than maybe a more grand Hollywood production, and maybe this is what the director was thinking with the remake. Honestly, the more slow burn and grainy aesthetic of this movie contributes to this sense of unknown and this unsettling feeling the entire film, and it actually makes it feel like a much more scarier film. There's a lot of slower moments in this movie when compared to the one that came out later, that it really gets you to absorb the scenery, get into the mindset of the protagonist, and it contributes to this nightmarish feeling of whether or not you're going to ever find this person and what it's going to take to find this person. So I think the feel of this is much grander, and while the budget is lower, it actually like 100% fits this film very well. It's a film that's very well acted, that builds a lot of tension all the way up to the conclusion. I can't help but compare this to the one I watched, and watching the two, this feels less polished, very less Hollywood-esque, and because of that, it ends up being a much preferred film in my opinion, because once we get to the end credits, it's something that you sit there and it lingers with you, that ending. Versus the American film, it's good enough, some aspects of it, but it's just a little too Hollywood for my liking, and a little bit more cleaner, and I feel like the nightmare really isn't sold there. For this film, I think that pacing can be an issue for some. I did think that the beginning moments were a little bit slow, and it took a while to really get into the moment and see where this is gonna go. But the more you stay with this film, the more it gets under your skin, and then by the time we get to the end, it's a movie that really lingers with you, that ending, which is not something I could say happened with the original film. Overall, I am very positive with this film. I think it's a really good film. If you're gonna check it out, please do check out the original. It is available on the Criterion channel and in the Criterion Collection, and I personally will be giving The Vanishing a B+ and a 3.75 out of 5-star rating. Do recommend checking this out. Be prepared for a more slow burn experience. If you go in expecting that, you might end up enjoying this film quite a bit. So yeah, that was my pick for the first film in the 100 films that I'm going to be traversing around the globe. Tune in next month. I will be unveiling the next country, and if you follow my Letterboxd account, you might already know some of these picks, because I started this challenge, I guess, on paper about 2 years ago, if not before that even, and I felt like it'd be a good segment on the channel to do. slowly discover new movies that I normally wouldn't watch. If I do ever get around to it, it might be 10, 15 years from now, versus now this actually gives me a chance to be like, hey, let me explore a movie from this country because I haven't really seen it. And it's like, there's definitely gonna be some movies where it would definitely be something that wouldn't be on my radar, so it gets me an opportunity to watch it. Now, some of these movies might not be hits. Like, I'm going in not knowing anything, so I might have a bunch of really terrible movies. But generally, I will trust some of the ratings and pick and choose some of the titles I come across. But some countries are just not gonna have a whole lot of choices, and I'm just gonna have to go with one of them. So be on the lookout for another video. I will be posting regularly every month, with today being the focus of the Netherlands. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on any other films from the Netherlands, from a local director and actors from that said country. Which movies you would recommend. I'd be definitely curious to check them out in the long run. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel for more videos, and I will see you guys in a later video.